few problems with your Ford 6.0's engine oil cooler. First of all, it's located though directly beneath your engine oil filter on top of your engine, underneath and behind this intake manifold here. It's pretty buried underneath there, but that's where it's located, directly underneath the oil filter. How it works is this. It's a pretty simple design. It's called a stacked plate heat exchanger. And I've oversimplified it here, but basically there's some large pathways that the oil flows through, and there's some smaller pathways that the coolant flows through. Now I've only drawn 3 on this diagram, but there's literally about 50 different channels for the oil and the coolant to flow through. It's important to note that the two fluids are never designed to mix together. That's bad news for your power stroke. And while this oil cooler works and works well, that is one of the problems that a Ford stock oil cooler can have. That is oil getting into the coolant. How it works is the cold coolant flows in, flows through the adjacent channels, it exits here out of the hot coolant side and it flows from there into your EGR cooler. The hot oil comes in from the engine, flows through its oil channels adjacent to the cold coolant, and flows out and goes through the rest of your engine. The problem with the 6-liter oil cooler occurs is these tight little coolant pathways. They literally are smaller than oil pathways, and the coolant can fit through those pathways just fine, but any chunks or solids that you have suspended in your coolant don't make it through. So eventually what happens, while you literally have thousands of channels going through there for the coolant to swim its way through, the big chunks get partial the way through and then they plug up that channel and they block it for forever. Over time and with mileage, the problem that happens is that now stops the coolant from flowing through the oil cooler at all. And this leads to 5 issues. The first issue is it blocks the coolant flow going through, which means it stops the coolant flow from getting out of the oil cooler into your EGR cooler. The other 4 areas are oil related. Keep in mind, when this cold coolant flows through, it cools down your engine oil. So with that cold coolant stops, the oil keeps flowing, but it now comes out as hot engine oil, not cold engine oil. Well, that hot engine oil feeds 4 little areas I think you'll all find important. The first one is it feeds all your main bearings, all your moving pieces within your engine. Keep in mind, a good engine oil cooler when it's working will keep your engine oil, roughly speaking, around 200 degrees Fahrenheit under most normal conditions. However, if your oil cooler is plugged, that engine oil temperature can hit as high as 255, 260, 265. So all your main bearings are now being lubricated by 265 degree engine oil. Your high pressure oil pump, about $1,000 piece, is now being lubricated by 255, 265 degree engine oil. Your turbo, which sees a lot of heat from your exhaust system, is also being lubricated by 265 degree oil. And lastly, all 8 of your injectors, which are oil fed, are also being cooled down, to use the word loosely, by 265 degree engine oil. So as you can see, this engine oil cooler is paramount and important for your Ford 6-liter. To put it shortly, put it bluntly, if this oil cooler isn't happy, your 6-liter is never going to be happy.